2021 paper 2, question 8. This is on hypothesis tests and p-values. Okay, so question 8 part B. A newspaper report claimed that 6th-year students in Ireland studied an average of 21 hours per week outside of class time. So that's mu, 21. A Leaving Cert class of 60 students were surveyed, chosen at random from different schools. It found that the average study time was 19.8 hours and the standard deviation was 5.2. So that's x bar and that's sigma. Find the test statistic of that sample mean. So set up your z-score, x bar minus mu all over sigma over root n. Sum in your values and you should get minus 1.787 and that goes on forever. So if they had asked you to do a hypothesis test, your test statistic would have fell into this region, in the fail to reject region. So if you're failing to reject the company's claim, that means you're technically accepting it. And to accept it, the original null hypothesis would have been that there was no change in the time spent studying. So if we are failing to reject it, that means we are accepting that claim, that there hasn't been any change in the study time for students. So that's part 1. Part 2, find the p-value of that test statistic. And again, the p-value is the probability that an even more extreme value other than your test statistic could have occurred. So you want to be even more negative than minus 1.78, or you want to be more positive than 1.78, which would be here. Okay, so that would be finding that probability. So like if we're saying here we failed to reject, well then I want to know what's the probability that when we failed to reject H0, we were like, what probability were we wrong by basically, or what was the chances that we failed to reject it when we should have accepted it, or we should have rejected it, or vice versa. So comment on what can be concluded from this p-value test at the 5% level of significance, and again it's a two-tailed test. They always will be, otherwise it would be stated. Okay, so my p-value is the probability that Z is even more negative, so less than your minus 1.79. Now I've just rounded that figure to 2 decimal places to calculate this. Plus or the probability that Z is even more positive than 1.79. So worked out your Z scores there. It's Z is, based on symmetricality, Z is greater than 1.79. That would be the same as saying 1 minus probability of Z being less than. Z being greater than 1.7, again, it's the same as 1 minus the probability that Z is less than. Tidying this up, 1 plus 1 is 2, and minus the probability is minus 2 times that probability. Go to the outskirts of your Z tables, find 1.79 as a Z score, and it gives you back a probability of 0.9633. So 2 minus 2 times that gives me 0.0734, which is approximately 7.34%. Now, if your p-value is greater than your significance level. My significance level was 5%. So the fact that 7.34% is greater than 5%, that means you would fail to reject the null hypothesis, which means you would be accepting the company's claim. So there is not enough evidence to reject the company's claim that study time hadn't changed. We can't reject it, which means we're accepting the fact that the study time still remains on average at 21 hours per week outside of class time.